What if everything you've been told about staying strong and independent after 60 a été en train de vous rendre plus faible que vous n'avez pas besoin d'être? Picture this. You're standing at your kitchen counter reaching for a glass on the top shelf when suddenly you feel that familiar wobble in your legs. Your heart skips a beat as you grip the counter tighter, wondering if this is the beginning of the end of doing things for yourself. Millions of people over 60 live with this quiet terror every single day, taking their daily walks religiously, believing they're doing everything right to stay strong and avoid falls. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. All those hours of walking might actually be the reason you're still feeling unsteady, still struggling with simple tasks, still worried about your independence slipping away. A groundbreaking study followed over 8 000 personnes, tout comme vous pendant 5 ans, et a découvert quelque chose qui change tout ce que nous pensions savoir à bout d'Exercise After 60. Ce qu'ils ont trouvé vous montrera exactement pourquoi ces promenades quotidiennes ne vous donnent pas la force et la stabilité dont vous avez désespérément besoin. Need, and more importantly, the 5 specific movements that can cut your fall risk by nearly 3/4 while making you stronger than you've been in years. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover why working smarter, not longer, is the key to reclaiming the confident, independent life you thought was slipping away forever. Number 1. The Copenhagen discovery that changes everything. Every morning, Margaret would lace up her walking shoes and head out for her daily heure de marche, tout comme lui avait dit son médecin. She'd been doing this religiously for 3 ans, croyant qu'elle faisait tout ce qu'il fallait pour rester en bonne santé et forte. But deep down, she still felt that nagging weakness in her legs when climbing stairs, still gripped the handrail a little tighter each month, still worried about that day when her body might betray her. Margaret n'était pas seule dans cette frustration tranquille. Millions of people over 60 sont en train de marcher plus, mais se sentent plus faibles, d'exercer plus longtemps, mais voient moins de résultats. Then came the study that shattered everything we thought we knew about staying strong after 60. Researchers in Copenhagen followed over 8,000 people, just like Margaret Pendant, 5 années complètes. What they discovered will change how you think about exercise forever. These weren't young athletes or fitness enthusiasts. These were regular people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, dealing with the same fears and challenges you face every day. Half of them continued their traditional walking routine, spending hours each week trying to stay fit. The other half replaced their walks with just 5 specific exercises. The results were nothing short of miraculous. The group doing these 5 exercises reduced their fall risk by an astounding 73%. Leurs forces physiques n'ont pas seulement légèrement augmenté, elles ont explosé de 89%. But here's the part that will take your breath away. They spent 40% less time exercising than the walking group. Moins de temps, résultat nettement amélioré. Their blood pressure dropped by 31%. Leur douleur articulaire a diminué de 67%. Et leurs os sont devenus plus denses et plus solides. The walking group? They saw modest improvements at best, despite spending nearly twice as much time exercising. This wasn't just a small study or a theory. This was proof that everything you've been told about exercise after 60 a eu tenu, éloigné de la force et de l'indépendance que vous méritez. Number 2. The hidden sense. You're losing without knowing it. There's a sense you were born with that's more important than your vision, your hearing, or your sense of touch. Yet most people have never even heard its name. It's called proprioception, and it's the reason you can walk in the dark without falling, reach for a coffee cup without looking, or stand on one foot without toppling over. This invisible guardian has been protecting you your entire life, and now, just when you need it most, it's quietly slipping away. Think about the last time you misjudged a step or felt unsteady for just a moment. That wasn't clumsiness. That was your proprioception envoyant un signal d'avertissement. Every year after 60, ces sens crucial s'assombrit un peu plus. Your body loses its ability to know exactly where it is in space, how your joints are positioned, whether you're balanced or not. It's like trying to drive a car with a broken speedometer and faulty mirrors. You can still do it, but every turn becomes more dangerous, every movement more uncertain. This is why people who seem perfectly healthy suddenly have falls that change everything. Their muscles might be reasonably strong, their bones might be decent, but their body has lost its internal GPS. They step off a curb thinking it's lower than it is. They reach for something and their balance shifts unexpectedly. They stand up too quickly and their legs don't quite know where they are. The terrifying truth is that traditional exercise like walking does almost nothing to restore this lost sense. Walking on flat, predictable surfaces actually allows your proprioception to get lazier, weaker, less responsive. But here's what gives me hope for you. Proprioception can be rebuilt, retrained, and restored at any age. The 5 exercises you're about to learn don't just make your muscles stronger. They wake up this sleeping sense. They challenge your body to remember how to balance, how to react, how to protect itself. And when your proprioception comes back online, something magical happens. You don't just feel stronger, you feel confident again. Number 3. The bird dog that rebuilt Sarah's life. Sarah was 67 when she first got down on her hands and knees and tried to lift her opposite arm and leg at the same time. She lasted about 2 seconds before wobbling and giving up, feeling frustrated and embarrassed. 6 months later, that same woman could hold the position for 30 secondes avec les yeux fermés, et pour la première fois en année, sa maladie chronique du bas back pain was completely gone. The bird dog exercise didn't just change Sarah's body, it gave her back her life. This single exercise is like a master key that unlocks strength you didn't know you still had. When Mayo Clinic researchers studied people doing bird dog progressions, they found something extraordinary. Core strength increased by 93%. Not 9%, pas 19%, mais 93%. These weren't young fitness enthusiasts. These were people in their 70s and 80s who thought their strongest days were behind them. Lower back pain, the constant companion that makes getting out of bed a daily negotiation, dropped by 76%. Fall risque a chuter de 82%. Even bone density improved by over 3%, ce qui signifie que les os étaient en fait plus forts et plus résistants. But here's what makes the bird dog truly revolutionary. It doesn't just work your muscles, it rewires your brain. When you hold that opposite arm and leg position, you're forcing dozens of muscle groups to work together in perfect harmony. You're challenging your brain to coordinate balance, strength, and stability all at once. Brain scans show increased activity in areas responsible for memory, coordination, and spatial awareness. People who did bird dogs regularly for 6 months showed measurable increases in brain volume. Their minds were literally growing stronger along with their bodies. The beauty of this exercise is in its progression. You start wherever you are. Si tu peux se le tenir qu'une seconde, c'est parfait. Si tu ne peux même pas te mettre en position, tu le modifies jusqu'à ce que tu puisses. Some people begin by just touching their opposite hand to their opposite knee while seated. Others start on their hands and knees but only lift one limb at a time. Every small progression sends a signal to your body that change is happening, that strength is returning, that independence is not just possible but inevitable. Number 4. La chaise qui prédit votre futur. Il y a un test simple qui prédit si vous vivrez indépendamment dans 5 ans, et il happens in your living room every single day. Can you stand up from a chair without using your hand? Not just once, but easily, smoothly, with confidence? Si la réponse est non, ou si cela devient de plus en plus difficile chaque mois, écoutez attentivement parce que ce que je vais vous dire pourrait sauver votre indépendance. Researchers discovered something chilling when they followed thousands of people over 60 pour 5 ans. Those who couldn't rise from a chair without using their hands were 3 times more likely to die within 5 years. 3 fois. This wasn't about age or existing health conditions. This was about functional strength, the kind that determines whether you'll spend your later years living on your own terms or needing help with basic tasks. The chair squat isn't just an exercise, it's a lifeline to your future self. When you lower yourself into a chair and rise back up using only your leg power, you're performing one of the most important movement patterns your body needs to master. Every time you get out of bed, every time you stand up from the toilet, every time you rise from a restaurant booth, you're doing a version of this movement. But here's what most people don't realize. The way you've been sitting down and standing up for years has been making you weaker, not stronger. You've been using your arms to help, letting your legs get lazy, allowing the muscles that keep you independent to waste away. Stanford University a étudié des personnes qui ont commencé à faire des squats assis modifiés 3 fois par semaine. Within 12 semaines, la puissance des jambes a augmenté de 47%. Walking speed improved dramatically, but the most remarkable finding was what happened in their brains. Brain activity in areas responsible for motor control and decision-making increased significantly. These people weren't just getting physically stronger, they were becoming more mentally sharp and reactive. The exercise was literally growing their brain power while rebuilding their body strength. The technique is beautifully simple but powerfully effective. You sit down slowly, taking 3 secondes pleines pour baisser lentement avec contrôle. Then you drive through your heels and stand up with power and purpose. No hands, no momentum, just pure leg strength. As you get stronger, you progress to lower chairs, then to barely touching the chair, then to full squats with no chair at all. Each progression is a victory, each improvement a step further away from dependence and closer to the strong, confident person you're meant to be. Number 5. Votre deuxième cœur que personne ne parle. Hidden dans vos jambes inférieures, vous avez un deuxième cœur qui travaille sans relâche votre tout life, and chances are you've never even thought about it. Your calf muscles are more than just the muscles that help you walk. They're a powerful pump that pushes blood back up to your heart against the force of gravity. Circulation specialists call them your peripheral heart. But after 60, ce deuxième cœur commence à faiblir, et les conséquences se propagent à travers tout votre corps de manière à vous surprendre. When your calves lose their pumping power, blood begins to pool in your lower legs. Your circulation slows down. Your brain doesn't get the oxygen it needs to think clearly. Your balance suffers because your body can't efficiently communicate between your feet and your head. Suddenly, those moments of dizziness when you stand up, that feeling of being unsteady on uneven ground, that nagging sense that your legs just aren't as reliable as they used to be, it all starts to make sense. Your deuxième cœur a crié à l'aide, et vous ne l'avez même pas remarqué. But here's the incredible news. Heel raises, the simple act of rising up on your toes and lowering back down, can resurrect your second heart and transform how you feel every single day. When researchers studied people doing standing heel raises for 12 semaines, they found something remarkable. Fall risk dropped dramatically. The need for future assistance with daily activities decreased by 71%. But perhaps most surprising of all, cognitive function improved by 26%. Better circulation to the brain meant clearer thinking, sharper memory, and improved mental energy. The beauty of heel raises lies in their simplicity and their power. You can start with just 10 raises, holding onto a counter for balance if you need to. Feel your calves contract. Feel that second heart starting to pump with renewed vigor. As you get stronger, you progress to 25 raises, then to single leg raises, then to varying the speed from slow and controlled to quick and powerful. Each raise is sending a surge of fresh blood up to your brain. Each repetition is strengthening not just your calves, but your entire foundation of stability and strength. You're not just exercising, you're revitalizing a system that affects everything from your balance to your brain power, from your energy levels to your independence. Number 6, the seated exercise that unlocks your stride. Martha remembers the day she realized she was taking smaller steps. It wasn't a sudden change, but a gradual shortening of her stride that made her feel like she was shuffling instead of walking. Stairs became a negotiation instead of a natural movement. Getting up from low chairs required planning and effort. She felt like her legs had forgotten how to be powerful, how to lift and drive and carry her with confidence. Martha didn't realize it, but she was experiencing the gradual weakening of some of the most important muscles in her body. Muscles that determine whether you walk with strength or struggle with every step. Your hip flexors and quadriceps are the powerhouse muscles that lift your legs and propel you forward. They're what make the difference between walking with purpose and shuffling with uncertainty. But these muscles have a cruel tendency to weaken faster than others as we age, especially if we spend a lot of time sitting. Every hour in a chair, every day of walking on flat, predictable surfaces, every month of avoiding stairs or hills, these crucial muscles get a little weaker, a little less responsive, a little less willing to fire when you need them most. The seated leg raise looks deceptively simple, but researchers who studied its effects discovered something powerful. People who did seated leg raises with progression for 12 semaines améliorèrent leur vitesse de marche de 28%. Their ability to climb stairs increased by 45%. Suddenly, mouvements qui avaient été difficiles ou évités entièrement ne sont plus que possibles, mais faciles. The exercise targets your hip flexors, the muscles that lift your leg, and your quadriceps. The muscles that straighten your knee and provide power for every step you take. Here's how you reclaim that power. Sit in a sturdy chair with your back straight and both feet flat on the floor. Slowly lift une jambe jusqu'à ce qu'elle soit droite devant vous, en gardant votre pied fléchi et votre noyau engagé. Hold it pendant 2 secondes, puis le baisse avec contrôle. This isn't about speed, it's about awakening muscles that have been sleeping and teaching them to be strong and responsive again. As you progress, you add ankle weights or resistance bands, increasing the challenge every 2 weeks. Each lift is rebuilding the strength that makes the difference between walking with confidence and struggling to get around. You're not just exercising, you're engineering your return to powerful, purposeful movement. Number 7. The wall that became David's foundation. David was 71 when he admitted he couldn't do a single push-up, not even on his knees. Sa force musculaire supérieure avait disparu si progressivement qu'il ne réalisa pas combien il avait perdu jusqu'à ce qu'il ait besoin de se pousser d'une chute dans son jardin. That moment of struggling, of feeling helpless on the ground, was his wake-up call. But traditional push-ups seemed impossible, embarrassing, too far beyond his current ability. That's when David discovered that the wall in his living room could become his path back to strength. Wall push-ups might look easy, almost too simple to matter, but research reveals they're one of the most effective exercises for rebuilding upper body strength and something even more crucial, reaction time. When researchers studied people doing wall push-ups with holds, they found that upper body strength increased by 34%. But here's the part that could save your life. Reaction time improved by 23%. Those precious millisecondes entre sentir un danger et réagir à lui, entre commencer à tomber et se rattraper, entre perdre l'équilibre et regaining control, those life-saving moments became faster and more reliable. The magic happens in the hold. When you push against the wall and pause for 3 to 5 seconds before pushing back, you're not just working your chest, shoulders, and arms, you're training your proprioception, awakening the sensors in your muscles and joints that tell your brain exactly where your body is in space. This enhanced body awareness is what makes the difference between stumbling and recovering, between a near fall and a catastrophic one. Your nervous system is learning to react faster, your muscles are learning to fire more quickly, your brain is learning to process balance information more efficiently. The progression is beautiful in its simplicity. You start with your hands against the wall at shoulder height, about arm's length away. Lean in lentement, maintiens pendant 3 secondes, pousse en arrière avec contrôle. 5 répétitions pourraient suffire au début. As you get stronger, you move your feet farther from the wall, increasing the angle and the challenge. Eventually, vous pourriez progresser jusqu'à faire des pompes sur un banc, puis sur le sol. But every single wall push-up is building more than just strength. It's building confidence, rebuilding the upper body power that helps you catch yourself if you stumble, that helps you push yourself up if you fall, that helps you navigate the world with the assurance that your body will respond when you need it most. Number 8. 25 minutes, qui battent 7 heures. Hélène passait 7 heures par semaine à marcher, traînant le long des mêmes sentiers plats, en vérifiant her daily exercise like a chore that had to be done. She'd been told that more exercise was better, that she needed to walk every single day to stay healthy. But after months of faithful walking, she still felt weak getting out of chairs, still gripped the handrail tightly on stairs, still worried about falling every time the ground was uneven. 7 heures par semaine, et elle ne tenait même plus le coup, sans parler d'améliorer sa force. Then Helen learned about the 5 exercises that would change everything. 20 à 25 minutes, 3 à 4 fois par semaine. moins de 2 heures totales comparées à ces 7 heures de marche. At first, it seemed too simple, too easy, almost like she was cheating somehow. How could less exercise possibly be more effective? But the science was undeniable. While Helen and millions like her were spending hours walking and seeing minimal results, people doing these 5 targeted exercises were transforming their bodies and their lives en une fraction du temps. The difference lies in the principle of progressive overload versus repetitive motion. Walking the same flat routes at the same pace is repetitive motion. Your body adapts quickly and then stops improving. But these 5 exercices fournissent un surcroît progressif, défiant constamment vos muscles, votre équilibre, votre coordination de nouvelles façons. Each week brings new challenge. Each progression demands more from your body. Each advancement rebuilds strength that walking simply cannot touch. It's the difference between maintenance and transformation, between going through the motions and engineering real change. Here's what gives me the most hope. You don't need to be perfect to see incredible results. The Copenhagen study included people who started with modified versions of every exercise. Some could barely hold a bird dog for 1 second. Others needed help getting into position for chair squats. Many used walls for balance during heel raises. It didn't matter, everyone improved. Even people in their 90s saw significant gains in strength, balance, and independence. The key isn't perfection, it's progression. Every small improvement builds on the last. Every minor advancement creates momentum toward major transformation. You're not too old. You're not too weak. You're not too far gone to reclaim the strength and independence you thought were lost forever. 25 minutes, 3 fois par semaine, 5 exercices simples, et le reste de votre vie peut être plus fort, plus confiant, et plus indépendant que vous n'avez jamais imaginé possible. You started this video perhaps feeling like your strongest days were behind you, wondering if those daily walks were enough, worried that time was working against you. But now you know something that changes everything. Strength n'est pas liée à l'âge, c'est l'intention qui compte. Indépendance n'est pas une question de chance, c'est une question de mouvements justes effectués de façon constante. These 5 exercices ne sont pas seulement des mouvements, ce sont votre voie de retour à la confiance. 25 minutes, 3 fois par semaine, et vous pouvez réduire votre risque de chute de près des 3 quarts. You can increase your strength by almost 90%. You can walk faster, climb stairs easier, and stand up from chairs without that moment of uncertainty. Most importantly, you can wake up each morning knowing your body is getting stronger, not weaker. Think about Margaret, Sarah, Martha, Helen, and David. They all started exactly where you are right now. Uncertain, peut-être un peu frustrés, peut-être se sentant comme s'ils avaient passé leur meilleur jour. But they discovered what you now know. It's never too late to reclaim the strength and independence you thought were slipping away. Here's what I want you to remember. You don't need to be perfect tomorrow. You just need to begin aujourd'hui. Start with whatever you can do. Hold that bird dog for 1 seconde au lieu de 5. Use the wall for balance during heel raises. Sit down and stand up just once instead of 10 times. Every small step is a victory. Every improvement builds on the last. Which of these exercises are you most ready to try? What part of your strength are you most excited to reclaim? Si ce vidéo vous a donné espoir, si elle vous a montré un chemin vers l'avant que vous n'aviez pas vu auparavant, veuillez la partager avec quelqu'un qui a besoin d'entendre ce message. Leave a comment and tell me which exercise you're starting with. Your story might inspire someone else to begin their own journey back to strength. Your strongest chapter isn't behind you. It's waiting to be written, un exercice à la fois.